Rob Sanders.
We're waiting.
Welcome into the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Around the world on the iHeartRadio app. My name is Rob Sanders. Thanks for joining us on the show today. We got some things we're going to get into today. We're going to talk a little bit about a Twitter poll question I put out last night, which I've been putting out polls on Twitter at Rob Sounds Good. Go and check those out. The latest Twitter poll was something I didn't think would be, crazy on the front of, hey, this is something that's controversial. But I asked, who will face bigger penalties from the NCAA? Still got about 6 hours left in that poll. Right now, with 83%, the LSU basketball team leads the way over Tennessee. And I wonder if there are going to be people that are going to come out and say, you know what, I don't think much is going to happen to Tennessee. Some people got upset, though. Simply because I guess they feel like they fired everybody. They dealt with 71 scholarships last year, and maybe that should be enough. Then you have the people that come at you with, well, the NIL rule. The NIL is different. It's a completely different thing. You were doing this beforehand. And let's not forget the McDonald's bag stuff with money. There's that too. Anyway, I think that something's going to happen to Tennessee. I don't know what it is. We'll probably wait 7 years because the NCAA is a big stinking pile of dog mess that basically they will hammer schools that aren't their blue bloods and they'll let them walk away while they try to make something from someone else. Anyway, we'll take calls on that. Who is going to be punished worse? 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. Let's go out to the phones. And welcome into the program. Good afternoon.
Hey, it's Big Barney Ross. I just wanted to call and say I'm just shocked at what LSU's done. They should come down on them. They should just drop the hammer, set an example that this should never, ever take place. And we do have a fund going around to fire Calipari right now. So,
well, hold on. Can I ask you a question about that? Because John Calipari last night had his last coaching show of the season, and he would not take call from the fans. Were you upset by that?
I was shocked by that because he's the guy that really likes to talk, and he likes to get in front of the camera with that hair, that perfect hair. Mark Stoops just wishes he had. But nevertheless, you really need to take some, questions in a situation where you get a lifetime contract and it's going to be $43 million to get you out of that, and you're not producing. But they're working on it, and I think if you're going to put a coach on the hot seat, he's on it. The Big Blue Nation will not stand for that type of LSU behavior. We were not going to do it. Big Barney Ross, you think about that, I'm out of here.
Oh, goodness. Big Barney Ross just came on the program and said, was it him or our other Kentucky friend that says that Kentucky had the best team money can buy? Now Big Barney Ross is upset with what LSU did. I think LSU's trying to get ahead of it. I think it came down to economics. They were looking at it from a perspective of, look, we're going to fire this guy. The first inkling that we get from the NCAA, there were major violations. But when it comes down to it, I'm just in the camp of, and forgive me if I'm wrong on this, people on Twitter were upset about it, thinking that I was just trying to basically make people mad. That wasn't what I was trying to do. It's a valid question. Who is going to get tougher sanctions? Tennessee for giving them Happy Meals with cash in them? Or LSU, where we've got the FBI tape with the actual coach saying, hey, this is what happened. I'm in the camp of, I think both are going to get hit. I think that LSU will probably get popped a little more than Tennessee will, because some of the sanctions that have been out there that Tennessee put upon themselves, 71 scholarships last season, and they fired everyone. That has to hold a little bit of weight with the NCAA. But let's make sure that we put something else out there. The NCAA doesn't really deal in the land of reality, okay? They could come back and let LSU off and punish Tennessee for the next 25 seasons, and I would not be surprised. Not one bit. You want to know why? Because they have this whole, we talk about the bookcase of accountability here. The bookcase of accountability with the NCAA does not exist. You cannot question any one of their rulings. They got backed into a corner one time, and that is with the NIL stuff, because basically the Supreme Court of the United States said point blank, yeah, you're going to have to change that. And the NCAA said, before all of that happens, we're going to change the rules where we can have the name, image, and likeness, even though they went kicking and screaming and moaning and everything else. They are a toothless, worthless organization. And it sickens me that we have to sit through the basketball tournament, and they have those NCAA, they have them every year. The student athlete only has blah, blah, blah. Only, the fencer from Princeton doesn't get any money. And this happens and that happens. And we try to take care of all of them with the NCAA. Yeah, it's a mess. Jeffrey online, who admits that he is a biased LSU fan, but I've had back and forth with Jeffrey in the past. Generally, he's a pretty smart guy. I'm going to read this comment cold. Hopefully he didn't put any curse words in it that I'll just throw out there. Jeffrey says, as a biased LSU fan, I hope they tell the NCAA to tread very lightly. There is the option of LSU suing the crap out of the NCAA for selective and malicious prosecution of their rules. Discovery would be interesting, considering what Kansas and Duke are hiding. And that's something else, too. By the way, shout out to Papa B saying, hey, Rob sounds like he's getting a cold. That's right, I am. I suit up anyway and come in for the show. Not that I need your pity for my damn head cold. But the reality is this. I am sick of people. We have the whole thing with Coach K, and we should be nice to Coach K. He did this and he did that. He is a scoundrel, too. I cannot wait until the Zion Williamson stuff comes out and we see all of the money that Duke boosters put into that program. Cannot wait. The people running around, I'm a Duke fan, but then I'm a Clemson football fan, too. Yeah, I can't wait for that. Gonna be, that is a day I look forward to. 803-978-1832. Out to the phones we go. Welcome into the rundown. Good afternoon.
Hey, Rob, totally agree about the NCAA having no teeth anymore. I mean, remember what happened to Penn State?
Yeah.
They were gonna fine them all this money, and they weren't gonna have big bowl games, and that lasted for all of 1 year.
They gave Coach Paterno back his victories.
His wins.
And there were literally rapes in showers, and they gave him back his victories. I don't care if people say, oh, well, Coach Paterno didn't know what was going on. You know what? But you're responsible, sir.
Yeah.
It's the NCAA. And I know that, and I know everybody's going to come to me with everybody cheats, Rob. Everybody cheats. And I get that. I think that it's out there. But the reality is the NCAA, they pick and choose. The stuff with North Carolina, where it was basically a drive-through window if you were an athlete to get a degree in African-American studies, that's out there. Well, that happened too, and they didn't get any of that.
Zion's family moved into a mansion in North Carolina.
Yeah.
For the year that he was in school at Duke.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not going to do anything to Duke. They're not going to do anything to LSU. I mean, LSU's coach was he's been under investigation for 3-4 years, and LSU wouldn't even fire him.
And then you have Sean Miller, who
now
got
they
fired
him because.
Right, but then you had Sean Miller that got fired at Arizona. He gets another job. South Carolina fans wanted him here. Let's hire this guy that's a known cheater, an absolutely known cheater. It's insane to me.
The guy at Auburn was at Tennessee, got fired for lying to the NCAA, gets the job at Auburn. They give him what, lifetime contract? Just what, a couple months ago?
I don't know what Bruce Pearl has got, but he sits on a throne of lies is basically what it boils down to.
The NCAA will be out of business probably another 5 years.
Yeah, that's a good point, sir. What
The
else you got?
conference will be, trying to patrol themselves the best they can.
Yeah, that's
all right, man. Appreciate it,
not
brother.
going to happen. But hey, thanks. 803-978-1832. Jimmy says Roy Williams didn't know what was going on either. No, I don't think I think he knew what was going on. Yeah. Trust me. Look, and I understand the whole let's give you a $500 handshake here or there. You know what? I don't really have a problem with that. Some booster walks up to you and gives you a $500 handshake so you can take your girlfriend out and run around and, I don't know, put gas in your car. $500 may not fill up your car now. Bum, bum, bum. We don't want to talk about gas prices on the program because just make people angry. Anyway, no, but it boils down to this. I don't even think the $500 handshakes are a bad deal, but when it goes from $500 handshakes to we're going to put your family up in a house, we're going to give your dad a job on the coaching staff making $90,000 a year, and this stuff happens. Absolutely happens. And then they come back with, they want you to feel bad for them if this goes the wrong way. It's disgusting. It really is. But you know what? We're still getting shoved down our throat how great Coach K is, how great X coach is or Y coach is. And man, Bruce Pearl can coach. Yeah, he got knocked out of the tournament. How'd that work out for him? 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. Papa B says the NCAA was in Oxford, worried about how the quarterback got a used Kia while that was happening at Penn State. And it's silly. In the grand scheme of things, it's silly. And name, image, and likeness is a little bit different, in my opinion, than, hey, a coach just coming out with, we're going to give you this to come here. But with name, image, and likeness now, you can hide a lot of it. And, a lot of folks give grief to Texas A&M. Their coach doesn't like it, obviously. He'll point blank tell you.
The hypocrisy is a joke. It's an absolute joke, and it's insulting to our staff, how hard we work, to how we do things, and it's insulting to Texas A&M because there ain't a better place to go to school and play ball. If we don't like it, we're coming on. Get used to it. We ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, you ain't going nowhere, sir. You can finish with that 8-win season. Good luck with all that. The point in playing that clip, though, is that there's a lot of talk that the NIL was used in a selective way where, look, if you come here, you're going to get this in NIL money. And you know what? That's fair. That's the way the system's set up now. If you don't have a good NIL staff, which a lot of universities are investing in those now, if you want to be competitive, that's kind of the way to go. Anyway, Jay says, I haven't seen Rob this upset since they deleted the good scenes of Brokeback Mountain for cable TV. Thank you, Jay. Thank you for always contributing to the program. Big Barney Ross says Epstein did not hang himself. This is what I get from the chat room. Goodness gracious. Vol Steak says Tennessee Vols will be okay. We fired everybody that was involved with Jeremy Pruitt. Man, speaking of the bookcase of accountability, if you go and you look deep down in it, you could see where the host of this program said, Jeremy Pruitt's going to be great. He's going to take Tennessee and make them the second best team in the East. I actually said that. He's going to be the team that lead the team that's going to challenge Georgia every season. Yeah, I said all that. I'm not like some folks, especially some of the folks in the chat room that talk about Stetson Bennett like he is the second coming, but we're bashing him and calling him a dwarf and everything else during the actual season. Anyway, Big Barney Ross says he wants $500 handshakes. Who doesn't? Better work on that jump shot, Big Barney Ross. By the way, Kentucky could use that right now. In fact, I bet if we put Big Barney Ross on the Kentucky team, he would knock down free throws and would give up his 5 fouls in the first 4 minutes of the game and at least slow the game down so hopefully the other athletic players on the team could possibly open up a lead there for the Wildcats. Big Barney Ross on the Kentucky team. They probably advance past St. Peter's. Edwin says, but Rob, you couldn't have known Pruitt was going to get caught. Look, not even on the money side of it. Pruitt ended up being a gong show. A gong show. David says, gas is expensive. I'm going to need $1,500 handshakes. Yes, sir. Begging Megan with another thing that I came out and said, I have no problem hanging myself out there. I'm not worried about Georgia. You know, Kirby will blow it. Kirby Smart has a history of blowing it. And hey, congratulations. Now he has to figure out how to not be a one-hit wonder. That's what's going to hang over his program. He broke that 40-year streak. Now it's come back to, hey, can you go out and win it again? Good coaches go out and win it again, sir. Great coaches go out and win it again. Good coaches can win. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832 is the number to call. Papa B says, Pruitt was a gong show. Dooley was the gong show. Heupel will go either way this year. You know what? I think that, where's my notes on this? Oh, Tennessee is doing some things that are trying to bring themselves back to respectability. First of all, firing Jeremy Pruitt, getting rid of him, and basically saying, you know what, we're trying to move completely away from that. Getting rid of Phil Fulmer, too, who I always thought was a good guy, but he had to know what was going on. They bring in Josh Heupel, and to be honest, a lot of us are like, what? The new athletic director lied and said that he didn't interview anybody but Josh Heupel. But after that, they've been pretty much on the straight and narrow. And getting rid of everyone and basically flushing it and starting over, no one expected Tennessee to go out. What they win? 7 games last season, 6 games, whatever it was. I mean, that defense took a beating in that game against Purdue, but they made a bowl game. Yeah, that's kind of nobody expected that. Nobody really did. So they're ahead of schedule. They got the big 5-star quarterback coming in, a guy that Georgia and Alabama and Oregon and a lot of other teams wanted. By the way, some of the Georgia and Alabama fans checking in online yesterday were hilarious. Oh, we decided we didn't want that quarterback. We didn't want that quarterback. We backed off of him. Stop it. They would have been loving it if that quarterback would have said, hey, you know what? I'm going to come and play here. Unless it's Alabama, because he'd have been like the, 6 5-star quarterback they got on the roster. Kirby's visor says Kirby Smart and Georgia have replaced Clemson and Dabo for the foreseeable future. Oh, please. You got to stop with that nonsense. 803-978-1832. More of the rundown when we come back. This is Fox Sports Radio 1400. Megan, I'm going to give you one opportunity to shut the hell up about Stetson Bennett, because I have clips of you saying, you know, he's a midget. He can't, all the stuff that you said, I've got it. So I'm going to give you this opportunity. You got 3 days, brother. You keep bringing up Stetson Bennett, I'm going to hammer you with it. You're not going to like it. I have no problem digging through the audio archives because you said a lot of stupid things on this show. Yeah. Look, I admit what I said. You're not going to come on the program and admit that you said that Stetson Bennett was a failure? You don't want to go with that? People that listen to the show, they know how you feel. They know that you thought that Georgia had no chance of winning the national title. Oh, my goodness. Our 8th-string punter got his toenail stepped on, and with that, we can't win the national title. You won the national title, and you led the conference in raping. Congratulations on that, sir. Don't make me go to the tape. Got a list of tape, brother. Well, that's because maybe you you don't recall any of the aforementioned because simply maybe you're just not that bright. I've said before you're dumb, but you know things. Maybe you're just dumb to the stuff that you say. Don't make me pull the tape, sir. Don't make me do it. Giving you an opportunity to walk that back. You can Michael Jackson moonwalk it back right now. The only thing you need to do is say, you know what? Call the program, and you can literally, I won't have anything to say. You can say, you know what? Georgia beat Clemson. Georgia won the national title. Woo! Now, I know you got to get in on your buddy there, Jimbo Fisher, because I think you want to be Jimbo Fisher. I really believe that. I think you want to be one of those Jimbo Fisher type guys that marries a stripper that calls herself Candy with a K, has her name legally changed to Candy with a K, and then you're just begging her to go and bang a Florida trainer. You seem like you're one of those guys. You aspire to be Jimbo Fisher. I believe that. Lee says, if I don't remember it, it didn't happen. Stop it, Lee. You're not helping. Kirby won one game, sir. Come on, Kirby's visor. Try harder. I think they're not getting rid of him anyway. Jimbo Fisher is a poor man's Kirby Smart. Thank you, Big Barney Ross. You Kentucky fans, I mean, I don't value your opinion on a lot of things, but on Jimbo Fisher, I agree. She did get my money. What are you worried about? Make it rain down there in Florida. Welcome back to the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world on the iHeartRadio app. If you want to call in about the stuff with Tennessee and LSU, feel free. The world of Twitter says it's an 80. They like LSU to be more penalized than Tennessee. So there's that. Look, I've got another college football topic for you, and this is for the bookcase of accountability. Now, I'm going to give you this because this is from 247 Sports. Brad Crawford is a really good writer. But if you want to hear the slant that goes towards the company, the conference that they have an alliance with over at 247 Sports that is owned by CBS Sports, yeah, you'll see it in this article. College football's most favorable schedules for contenders in 2022. Now, here's the big thing with this. And I've said this, and I'll say it over and over and over and over and over again, but this is why I put it on the bookcase of accountability. You don't know how good the schedule is going to be. You have no clue until the end of the season. But these are interesting, though. College football's most favorable schedules for contenders. At number 6, they've got the Oklahoma Sooners. Potential games against ranked teams, Texas, Baylor, and Oklahoma State. Now, Texas, we thought was going to be ranked last year and was going to be great. They ended up being a gong show. We'll see. Baylor and Oklahoma State, I will buy that. The Clemson Tigers are at number 5. Potential games against ranked teams, Wake Forest, NC State, Notre Dame, and Miami. I already think this is silly because I don't know how good Miami's going to be. I mean, we're really hanging everything on Miami. They get a good coach, or what we think is a good coach because he did good things at Oregon. And now Miami's going to sneak into the top 25. I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that at all. But they do have Wake Forest, NC State, Notre Dame, and Miami. Southern Cal is also on the list. They've got Utah, UCLA, and Notre Dame as the 3 potential ranked teams. I'll buy Notre Dame because Notre Dame, regardless of what people think about them, I think for the past 11 seasons, they finished 11th or better in the country. So, but Utah, I think, is going to be an interesting team too. Not sure about UCLA. Number 3 on the list, the Miami Hurricanes. They've got Texas A&M and Clemson as their potential games against ranked teams. Yeah. And he says, want to put Miami back on the map nationally, win at Kyle Field in week 3 against Texas A&M, which, by the way, for folks that want to laugh at Jimbo Fisher, if Miami goes into Kyle Field and wins, I will play a laugh track for the first 2 minutes of the show on Reaction Monday as Texas A&M proves they're in the toilet once again. But I don't know how good Texas A&M is going to be. They're still trying to figure out quarterback, etc. Number 2 on the list, Clemson and the NC State Wolfpack, where they play Clemson and Wake Forest. And finally, the team with the quote-unquote best schedule or most favorable schedule is Wake Forest, where they play Clemson and NC State. I can understand having Wake and NC State right there in the mix. I don't get where teams that have potentially 4 ranked teams on their schedule, they're ranked as having an easy schedule. A third of their games are against ranked teams, but we'll see how that works out. But this is going to go on the bookcase of accountability. I assure you there are teams from the SEC that have really, really, really favorable schedules. The only team from the SEC East that plays a tough schedule, in my opinion, is Tennessee Volunteers. Why? Because they've got Georgia and they've got Alabama too. Not very many teams from the East can say that. It's a mess when people start talking about, oh, my schedule's more tougher than yours. Really? Aaron says Kentucky has by far the easiest schedule in the SEC. Mississippi State and Louisville next year. Sign me up. That is fair. That is fair. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. Now, a lot of times we use this show to educate folks. And it comes back every year. When we have the bookcase of accountability and we look at teams and how many ranked teams they played at the end of the season, the folks that run around with the SEC lower back tattoos, they get upset because, oh, we played 3 teams that ended up ranked in the top 25. Insert team here played 4 teams that ranked in the top 25. Oh, no, our schedule is much tougher because the jerks in Birmingham told us, hey, they're much tougher. And we have to believe that because that's where we validate our programs in case they didn't win the national title like Georgia did last year. You'll hear the whole thing. It was in basketball too. Positive Mike made a good point yesterday in a mocking fashion. Yeah, the SEC didn't do well in the NCAA tournament because they beat up on each other all year. Just stop it. That line of thinking is so stupid. I mean, it is like drinking bleach stupid. We play in the SEC, and because of that, we play the toughest schedule in the country. No, you don't. No, you really don't. You really don't. At the end of the season, the ranked teams that you play, where they're ranked, at the end of the year, that's what matters. Not what XY person seems to think. Because they think that, oh, wow, we have to look at it from this perspective of, we can use the Big Ten. Well, Ohio State, they played 6 teams that were ranked when they played them. Okay. How many of those teams ended up ranked at the end of the season? 2. Oh, okay. Okay. Jay says the SEC has 18 teams play for the national title in 16 years. Yeah, congratulations for getting your talking points from Birmingham. Look, the SEC, the top of the SEC, that 1 or 2 teams, yeah, they're great. The rest of the teams, hot dog water. Hot dog water. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. They just put this narrative out there so they can validate their programs when they go 8-4, like Texas A&M does. When they do that, then they'll sit here and they'll say, you know what, that 8-win Texas A&M team, they could have beaten a 10-win Big Ten team. That could have happened. Then we'll have the bowl games, which I'm on record say don't matter, not like they used to. But then they'll come out and they'll be like, oh, wow, look at this bowl game. And then last year, Texas A&M, they didn't even bother to show up. They knew what was going to happen. Wake Forest, last time they played them, hung the double nickel on them. Yeah, you don't hear about that very much, do you? Anyway, we got to talk about Lamont Paris coming to South Carolina. Clemson guard enters the transfer portal. Get into all of that and more here on the Rundown. This is Fox Sports Radio 1400. What's absurd about what I'm talking about? Yeah, I woke up this morning and I was like, So I I went and took a cocktail of allergy medicine and some Dayquil, and I went and bought me a couple of these. There we go. There you go. It says Georgia sweet peach tea on it. There are no calories in this. There are no calories in this at all. But they're supposed to help you out with. I read something about that. I could be wrong. I'm getting there. Look, I'm not going to miss a show. That's not going to happen. Not going to happen at all. You guys like that mouth pump reference, don't you? I thought about putting that on a t-shirt. I'm going to buy one. I'm going to get one made for Beg and Megan. This is my team gets mouth pumped. I don't think I can say mouth pumped on the radio. That would probably get me in trouble. Mouth pump. Oh, what a great reference. Mouth pump. If I'm not better from a cold by July, I should be shot or be made to go to Georgia games with freaking Beg and Megan. When's the last Georgia game you went to, Beg and Megan? I think you're a guy who sits on the couch and watches. No shame in that. Welcome back to the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Around the world on the iHeartRadio app. Go and read the chat room. It's on the Fox Sports Radio Facebook page. Yeah, some of the stuff that some of this I can't read some of it on the air. I'm just saying it's good stuff. All right, so I got to jump into this really quick here. And of course, we'll take calls on what I talked about with the quote unquote favorable schedules for contenders in 2022. Load of hogwash that is. Anyway, also poll questions day up on Twitter at Rob Sounds Good. Right now, leading the way, who's going to get the most sanctions? LSU with their basketball team or Tennessee with their football team? Right now, LSU basketball leads the way with 83% of the votes. 17% for the Vols. We'll see on that one. Poll questions will be up every day on Twitter at Rob Sounds Good. We'll be talking about those on the show. All right, so here's what I got for you here. As I'm laughing at the folks in the chat room. Lamont Paris has been hired at the University of South Carolina. Lamont Paris comes from UT Chattanooga, which we call the Snake, the Moccasins, whatever it is you want to call them. We call them the Snake here. So some fans are happy. Lamont Paris to South Carolina is the biggest no-brainer I've seen since becoming a Gamecocks fan. That's from at Dylan_Desai. Nick says, If he comes to Carolina, they hired the epitome of a grinder and well-grounded leader who's shown to have grown at every level he's taken a step at. You have to remember, he's been there, 2 national title appearances. He can coach. Look, my thing with the whole South Carolina coaching thing, it seems like when you looked at Florida, when they figured out, okay, Georgia's going to come and take our coach, even though we don't really like him anyway. Florida immediately, it seemed like they had a plan, and then they went from there. I don't know how well this search went behind the scenes. It just seemed like from the public eye that it wasn't like the absolute best. Now, on that front, I do think Lamont Paris is a guy that he's taking the next step here. Now, of course, Frank Martin was a great coach too. Led them to the Final Four. And I know that some people think, okay, the program's stale. Okay. I can buy all that. Maybe a fresh start is what South Carolina needs. But some players have said they thought that B.J. Mackey, the former player who's now a Wake Forest assistant, should have been able to take the job. Aaron Lucas told the state newspaper, the former Gamecock, it'll take some time for all of us to get out of our feelings. I'm only speaking for the players that I know that were disappointed. At the end of the day, it is still the program. People are going to change. Administrations are going to change. But at the end of the day, it is still the University of South Carolina. Bottom line is, we are still with the program's success. You know what? If I'm Lamont Paris, I like that. Okay, we didn't really get the guy that we wanted, but you know what? We're going to back you up regardless, coach. Go at it. Former players coming in, and it's not the wholehearted endorsement, but it's saying we're going to back the program regardless. If you're a South Carolina fan, you should be in the mix of, hey, this is a good coach. He did good things at UT Chattanooga. Has an impressive resume. 47 years old, so he's not 72 like Rick Pitino. He's going to come in here and let's see what he can do. You wanted a fresh start. Everybody that wanted Frank Martin fired, this is your fresh start. You should take that glass of shut the hell up and see what he can do. Anyway, some of the other things from players. JoJo English was also in support of Mackey. Of course, English played here as well. And he says, of course, we're going to say, why not BJ? No knock on Coach Paris, but liking BJ is no knock and doesn't mean we will not like the next coach coming in, English said. According to the state, he coaches at Lower Richland here in Columbia. He says, the affection we have for BJ is more so the respect we have for what he done here over his career, not just as a player, but as a coach. And being from home, you hope it would be like a Penny Hardaway at Memphis or Juwan Howard at Michigan, where they go and coach at their university. I can buy that. All right. If you want to sound off on the new coach, Lamont Parrish, I know guys that were, when I came into the building today, the Gamecock folks sitting out there, the smokers and jokers, who will remain nameless here. Let's just say that 3 of our sales reps were out there, and they were basically upset that Lamont Paris got the job and not somebody else. If you want to call in and say, hey, this is why I don't like the guy, this is why I do like the guy, 803-978-01832. 803-978-01832. Blind Squirrel's trying to help me out with my cold. He says, Caribbean Dreams makes ginger root products you can put in tea. Not trying to be funny. These products help me feel better when his voice sounds like mine. Yeah, I mean, I've gotten folks that told me, yeah, you sound terrible today. Yeah, thanks for that. I guess when you're on the radio, your voice is all you got. So there's that. All right. A quick update from Clemson. Clemson guard Nick Honor has entered the transfer portal, according to multiple reports. Started 25 games this season, averaged 7 points and 2.4 assists. Played in 57 games overall as the Tiger after sitting out a season after a transfer from Fordham. Who knows where he's going to go next? So Clemson loses that. On the hardwood up there, the young lady Washington that plays for them, the guard for the women's team, she got her degree. She's going to the WNBA. What does that tell you about Clemson? I don't think anybody wants to play basketball there. Brad Barnell has to get these guys to come in. And his recruiting mentality is, we're just going to hit the transfer portal forever and see how that works. You can't even really evaluate the Clemson basketball team going into the offseason because guys are going to come and go. Megan says, it's now you sound. It's not, he goes, it's now how, I mean, are you writing in English, sir? If you're going to comment in English. What is wrong with you? That Florida Gators education is really hurting your feelings there, sir. Yeah. 803-978-1832. Big Ronnie Ross says his favorite state to visit is unconsciousness. Yeah, I'm going to be looking forward to getting unconscious at some point this evening. We'll see how that works out. All right, if you want to respond to any of the stuff that I've thrown out there today, my list is pretty much there, out there for you. If you want to sound off on the favorable schedules, we can do that. If you want to sound off on should Tennessee get more sanctions or LSU, we'll go with that. Lamont Paris coming to South Carolina. We'll go with that. All of that for you here on the Rundown. Right here on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Of course, around the world on the iHeartRadio app. Feel free to check us out. We're on Twitter at Rob Sounds Good. Poll questions every day. In addition to random direct that I retweet. So if you want to join us there, feel free. Podcast is up. Be sure to check that out. That's at anywhere you get your favorite podcast. Try the iHeartRadio app. It's awesome. Every podcast you want is right there. More of the Rundown when we come back. This is Fox Sports Radio 1400. Thank you, Blind Squirrel. Begging Megan gets his typing right when he's ripping Uncle Lou. That's all. I mean, he must have somebody that types that for him. They have basic typing classes at Florida, right? Oh, my goodness. I don't know, Justin. I don't think it's fair for any season to say, unless everybody's coming back, that it's a surefire thing that, hey, you're going to repeat as national champion. I think it comes down to this. Georgia has talent. We know that. They have to they won the national title until somebody knocks them off. They're there. I think their schedule is not that hard, to be honest with you. Not that hard based with the talent that they have. Let's put it that way. Big Barney Ross says Kentucky will make a bowl game. I sure hope so. You're paying your coach a hell of a lot of money to not make a bowl game. So there's that too. Bidets? Oh, goodness, Jay. Your wife's going to be upset when I get home today, Jay. And you don't have that bidet installed. Just saying. Make sure it's right. God. That's funny. It could happen, Justin. It's not that far-fetched. Alabama played a lot of youngins last year, so they we're going to be fed that they're the best team in the country, and we'll see. Are you texting behind the boss's back, Megan? Is that what you're doing? Welcome back to the Rundown on Fox Sports Radio 1400 around the world on the iHeartRadio app. A couple of comments I want to get out there. Brock says UT should be punished, but they haven't. I don't get how getting rid of a problem takes back what happened. If I shoot someone but turn myself in, I'll still get punished for murder. Yeah, that's true. Here's the other problem that I have, though. The NCAA should have like a, what's the term, statute of limitations? And I'll tell you why. If they wait 3 years before we get anything out of it, as far as, hey, this, you're going to be punished for this, nobody on that team is going to be there. They fired everybody. So essentially, you're punishing the players that have committed there, and it's not really about the student athlete anymore. Really isn't. So there's that. I don't get the whole thing of let's punish a team that that none of these guys were even on the same staff that are here. We're going to punish Josh Heupel now for something that happened, let's say 4 years ago. So there's that. Daddy O says, bigger disappointment, Darren Horn or Chad Holbrook? Chad Holbrook went to the Super Regionals one year, so Darren Horn wins in a landslide, an absolute landslide. Anyway, we're going to talk NFL draft coming up here soon. We're also going to get into spring practice because it's underway. We're going to have spring games coming up. And one of the things I'm going to put out there is, how much value do you put into a spring game? Just wondering. We'll get into that as we roll along here. Jay says, bigger disappointment, Jamarcus Russell or DJ Uiagalelei? And he misspelled DJ Uiagalelei's name. Uiagalelei had, one season? It's going to be interesting. If folks come out, are there still going to be people that are going to rip DJ Uiagalelei? They're going to keep doing it until he comes out and plays like the guy that threw for, 400 yards against Notre Dame? If that happens, if he comes back and he's got that bite in his throws and everything else, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to get that glass of shut the hell up. And he may feed it to him himself. I don't know how any quarterback's going to do until they actually get on campus. I really don't. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. That is the number to dial if you'd like to join us here on the Rundown. Right here on Fox Sports Radio 1400, of course. Around the world on the iHeartRadio app. As we roll along here on a Tuesday, beautiful day here in the Midlands. Hope there was storms and stuff in Texas last night. They're supposed to be heading our way. We'll see how that goes. Lamont Paris to South Carolina. It's the big story in the sports world here in Columbia. He turned around the Chattanooga program. We'll see how that works out for him as he comes to South Carolina. Jay with another dumb statement. He throws big against a half-committed ACC team. Wow, yeah. He just threw for the most yards ever against Notre Dame in their own building. It just shows you how dumb Jay is today. You have like a lead hat that you must be wearing. I really believe that. Bible Belt says he's very proud of DJ. He's working very hard always with positive attitude and transformed his body. Hey, you know what? I think redemption stories are big with everybody. Can he come back from all of that? Yeah, we'll see. Allen says the NFL draft equals the UGA draft. See, that's why it's hard for me to say, you know what? Georgia's going to be the national champion, because I've seen mock drafts with, 4 or 5 Georgia players in it. So, yeah. Hey, you had 5. Let's say you had 5 first rounders from your national championship team. Huh. We'll see. You think you could just repeat when you lose 5 first rounders? I don't know. 803-978-1832. Megan says Rob is a defender of ACC football, yet calls others. Once again, he's typing in broken English here. Others dumb. No, I said his statement was dumb. That's what's dumb. Try to keep up, Megan. I know it's hard. I need to ship you some of my ADD meds. Actually, you can't do that, but come to Columbia, I'll give you some ADD meds. We'll get you fixed up with your ability to type and communicate. 803-978-1832, 803-978-1832. Kirby's Visor says in Atlanta, they started the day off with a Greyhound hostage situation, blocking all lanes on 85, but he surrendered. Okay. Jay says Notre Dame isn't his measuring stick for greatness. Well, of course not. You probably think Vanderbilt's a better program than Notre Dame. You are the epitome of SEC apologist. So, I can't expect you to listen to logic and reason. Tell us that Mizzou's great, sir. Mizzou's the best football program ever, and every other program should strive to be as good as Mizzou because they play in the SEC. Or maybe you want to take the Florida Gators. Who knows? 803-978-1832 as we wrap up the program today. Looking forward to getting some folks on to talk about the NFL draft. Levon Kirkland actually posted something. It's on the blog page at Fox Sports Radio 1400, where he did an analysis on the Clemson quarterback Booth. Go and check that out. And he talks about what's good, what's bad about Booth and where he thinks he's going to end up in the draft. Levon played in the NFL for 11 seasons. He might know a little bit about that. Coached in college, coached in the pros. He might know a little bit. 803-978-1832. Big Barney Ross says, I'll be wearing a visor all summer long in honor of Kirby Smart. It'll be super. And I will be a supervisor. Okay. Bob says he wants to see Clemson play Oklahoma. We'll see how that works out. I don't know how that's going to work. Oh, man. I learn so much on the show every day. A lot from the chat room. A lot of silly, but you do learn some things. Appreciate those guys joining us here for the program. Don't forget, as we go to wrap it up today, my buddy Lawton Swan is the czar of Clemson sports. You should follow him on Twitter. He's at Clemson Sports, and he will get you squared away with everything that is Clemson and everything else. You can check out his show coming up here in just a moment right here on Fox Sports Radio 1400. Of course, around the world on the iHeartRadio app. Love us some Swanee here on the show.
Stop looking at me, Swan.
He won't get off his butt and come in here and do a show. He's above all that. He's at Castle Day Swan with the gator moat and everything else. Seriously, I've seen Lawton Swan once or twice in 2 years now. Come into the studio there, Swanee. Be a man of the people. Brock says, I love all the DJ hate from Clemson fans. I hope DJ starts for Clemson next year instead of Klubnik. Clemson fans' reactions would be priceless. Jay with a valid point. Rob can't do 2 hours worth of radio without a pancake. Good point, sir. Good point. I don't really like pancakes, though. All right. More of the rundown tomorrow. They only give me 1 hour, 23 hours. I'll see you again right here on Fox Sports Radio 1400. You guys are hilarious over there. I don't follow Kentucky baseball. Sorry. I know the Kentucky softball team. Don't ask me how I know this, but they're playing Oklahoma, and they sold out their stadium for the first time in a regular season game. So I guess Oklahoma's good and Kentucky's good. There's that too. Appreciate y'all. We'll see you later.